Yo, man, life and times. Today we're asking, are you a creative or a creator? Yo, man, life and times. We're back. Today we're going to talk about being a creative versus being a creator. I was looking at a podcast from Matt Diavello, the Ground Up podcast, and he interviewed a guy by the name of T.K. Coleman on it. And I mentioned this same podcast previously, last week actually. But it was something else that stood out to me that I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about this week. And that was, are you a creative or are you a creator? So just a little bit of what he meant in this sense was the creative being the person who they think of the $1 million idea. And that's all they do is think of it because they don't have certain things in place for this idea that they feel needs to happen. So it kind of just dies and goes to the graveyard versus the actual creator that, okay, you have this idea. And even if you don't have everything perfect like you think it should be, you still flesh it out. You still go along with it and do what you can, whatever budget you have at your disposal, and you actually make it and create that project. The thing that he mentioned behind this was that you can actually build trust with people being the creator in this situation. So even though it's not the perfect thing, and even though it may turn out to be horrible, you're still showing people that you can follow through with everything. You can come up with the idea, you can flesh it out, you can execute and deliver actual final product. And that helps with investors and venture capitalists when they're looking at your business, or in this case, my business, and they're thinking, okay, do I want to put money into someone who just thinks of stuff and never comes through? They kind of flake off. Or, hey, I know this person is actually going to give me a final product. I can kind of help him. I see the potential in this. Let's build upon that. I actually have the finances. I actually have the know-how for it. And I see that you have great potential in this. So let's make this happen. I say my business because I know I actually had a lot of things when I first started Cre8ive Minds Clothing that I thought was going to be great ideas, but it didn't work because I didn't have the perfect scenario or the stars didn't align in the correct way to make everything happen. And I felt like, okay, well, only if, it's a lot of times that's the term that we'll use. If only if I can have this building, or only if I can get this for free, or only if someone will provide me with this amount of money, I can make something really, really great, something really, really dope. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that. You can take the 20 or 40 bucks that you have for something and make it happen. It's always a way that you can actually build upon the idea that you have. And then from there, it can grow into something that can be great. But you first have to put it out into the world for the world to know about it, to even say, hey, I like that, let me get behind it. A great example of this is the movie Paranormal Activity. When it was first done for part one, it actually did a budget of about $15,000 for a movie. It's pretty crazy. But then I think I looked up the second one and it had a budget of $3 million. So that's a pretty huge gap, between one movie to the next, of starting with a $15,000 budget to now having a $3 million. And I think the next one had about $5 million or so, or probably even 15. I'm not sure. I have to check that. But just think if they never started the first one because they said only have $15,000, that's nothing. It's going to get ate up just in editing alone. Like, we can never make this. Let's just hold off. They never would have gotten to, actually, I think they have like now 4 or 5 movies in the paranormal activity space, which is pretty cool because you started from a $15,000 budget. So just think on what you can do in your space now with what you have. For me, I know I actually had an issue with, okay, well, I didn't have photography for my business, so I can't do social media stuff. I can't do advertisements because I don't have video to actually make a advertisement video for it. But just being creative in what I actually did have, even with this that I'm recording now, it never would have been a possibility in my mind before because I needed the perfect space. I needed the perfect lighting. I need the programs to edit, I don't have anything or any knowledge about it. But actually getting down into it and, just doing it, building it piece by piece, I gave an analogy last week about Black Friday. I actually did a lot of the marketing for it. I did a lot of the video for it. I did a lot of the budgeting as far as building the behind the scenes marketing for the advertisements. And those are things that I didn't previously do before for the most part because it wasn't in my wheelhouse. Um, but I didn't let that stop me. I had to be a creative in this situation and a creator, the person I can see it and see it through. And for me, I think that's pretty cool because once you actually get it done, now you have something that you can transfer to other things. It's a transferable skill now. And like you mentioned, TK Coleman, it actually does build trust in people in the future. So you can say, hey, I have this idea. You can see I did this with only this amount of money. Imagine what I can do with this. Um, and I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good. It's pretty cool. So one thing that I actually want to do going forward in the future is just being more of a creator. One thing that I think helps me is I actually have a app G Notes on my phone where when I do have an idea, I can actually spend time in that idea. I can flesh it out as much as possible. So if I'm writing notes about it, I can be as detailed with those notes as I possibly can. So what space is this idea in? What all does it take for this idea to actually come about? As minimal as possible. What's the least amount of, I guess, ingredients? Let's say ingredients for this part. What's the least amount of ingredients that I need to actually make this and develop this into something that I can actually use? And even if I'm driving and I can't write it down, it actually has a recording feature where I can record and I can just talk it out. Talking out can be a lot easier at times than writing it down because you can think a lot faster than you can type. So, just talking it out and fleshing the actual idea and making it happen. So yeah, I think that's be pretty dope. And we'll see how that works out in the future and go from there. So yeah, we'll take a break. We'll come back with the question of the day and then we'll get out of here. All right? Yep.
Yo, pop quiz. It's Saturday. You in your King of the Grind shirt. What do? A, go to the mountains with a friend and tell spoopy ghost stories. B, go to the skate park and do the sickest kickflip of your life. Or C, keep it chill and watch a movie. It's easier. The answer's D. You do it all. So go to creativeclothing.com, pick yourself up a King of the Grind shirt, size 1X through 6X, price $20. So no matter what you do, you dope.
All right. So we're back with the question of the day. And that question is this. What idea or thought that you have for your business that you've been holding back on because you think it couldn't be done? How can you implement that now with as little investment from anyone else outside of yourself as possible? How can you build trust with this idea? How can you actually get this out into the world to get momentum behind it? For myself, it's actually more of the marketing and copywriting for the brand. I feel I'm not that strong at copywriting on that part. I know being a creative and not being able to do creative writing kind of sounds odd. But I don't know. It's just something that I thought held me back for a while. A few things that I want to do to try to get this implemented for myself is actually probably looking on some online training on YouTube for it. Maybe signing up for Skillshare for a few months and taking some of their online copywriting classes or courses that they have. Just to try to get my head wrapped around that type of thing so I can build upon the brand and make it larger, make it better, and reach a lot more people with it, But as always, I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking about the situation. You can leave a comment below. You can like it if you like this. Also, you can email me at robert@creativeclothing.com or you can follow me on YouTube at Robert the Cre8ive. Okay? I'd love to hear from you guys. And as always, you guys stay dope and be blessed.